So today's session we'll be covering information on the Bank of America program. Of course, that is the program that this very session is about. And there will also be a panel discussion. We have two of our distinguished alumni present here who will be sharing information on their own experiences. And after which there will be a Q&A session where all your burning questions will be asked or can be asked and responded to. All right. So about the Bank of America program. So basically, the program that we run at ACU Africa involves a multi-stage selection process where you apply to ACU Africa and you go through a series of processes. And once you are successful throughout those stages and you are selected, then you are accepted into what we call the corporate immersion experience. So at that stage, it's largely a training that we will offer you um, to prepare you ahead of meeting with the Bank of America team. That is, if you are successful out of the corporate immersion experience stage. Okay. For eligibility, that is who can get into the program or who qualifies to get into the program. To qualify or to be eligible, you must have been graduating in 2028. You should have an interest in at least one of the pillars. In this case, you should have interest in at least the technology and data analytics pillar or any of the other pillars that we'll be talking about. You should also have second class upper or above. That's in terms of academic standard. All right. So what are some of the pillars and divisions we have for this year's Bank of America program? We have the global corporate and investment banking pillar, under which we have the investment banking, or we have investment banking actually as the division under it. We also have global markets and research institute, and under it we have the global markets. We have technology and data analytics, which we are talking about today, and under it we have the global technology division, and you're learning more, particularly about this pillar and this division, that's the global technology during this session. We also have the operations and business enablement pillar as well. And under it, we have the global payment solutions, we have the chief people organization and operations as the divisions under that pillar. Okay. For purposes of this year's Bank of America program, we're organizing a series of sessions to, as it were, enlighten young people like yourselves and to give you that exposure into the various pillars and divisions that this year's program entails. So in sometime this week, that was on Monday, we had a general info session, which was supposed to give general information and also information about the corporate immersion experience. I think Tuesday we had, Tuesday we had the global corporate and investment banking session. We also had the Global Markets and Research Institute session that was yesterday. And of course, today we are having the technology and data analytics session. Right. Tomorrow, we'll be having the operations and business enablement pillar. We'll be having that event. So I will entreat you to please book that in your calendar so you can join that session tomorrow at 6 p.m. GMT, which is 7 p.m. Watts. So on Saturday, we also have the operations and business enablement pillar again, but focusing on operations. Right. Okay, like I mentioned, we'll be having a panel session for this session. And we have two of our distinguished alumni, that's Chisom Unwoku and Mariam Duke, who have been through the Bank of America process. They have, gathered all the experience that they can share with you. So I will entreat you to please listen to them with rapt attention. Like I said, you can jot down any questions you have, and at the end of the session, you can throw it to them, and they will respond to you. Thank you very much. So Elizabeth, my colleague, will be taking over to run the panel discussion session. Thank you.
Thank you, Chika. Hi, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the third round series for the info sessions. Today, we are going to be discussing about technology and data analytics. And with me for this panel session is Chisom Iruku and Mariam Duke. A warm round of applause to our panelists as they join me here. Hi, Chisom. Hi, Mariam.
Hi everyone. Good evening.
Hello, hi everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm
Great.
doing good. It's great to be here today. Thank you all for having us.
Thank you for joining us as well. Hi, Chisom. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you very much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Thank you.
Thank you as well. So, everyone, let's dive in. As usual, I like to start off simple, just getting to know about our panelists and hearing where they are from. But this time, I will be throwing it to them so they share their experience, where they are from, and something brief about their journeys. So, Chisom, could you kindly introduce yourself to our audience today so they know where you're coming from?
Okay, cool. Hi everyone. My name is Chisom and I am a software engineer currently based in the UK. I started out my journey in tech as a mobile developer. I love developing mobile applications. And then gradually transitioned into software engineering, but more on the data infrastructure platform side of things. I'm also an author. I have two books, and one is actually a career book for getting into big tech. The second is a book on data engineering for beginners. I love teaching, I love writing, I love learning as well. Aside my work, I do a couple of other things. I speak at events. I have a YouTube channel to encourage women like me that are coming into the tech space and just see that, things are possible. So yeah, I think that's like a short version. I don't want to say everything.
Amazing, amazing to hear that. We are glad to have you here today, Chisom. Mariam, over to you. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself as well?
Hi everyone. My name is Miriam Duke. I studied computer engineering at Ashesi about graduated about 3 years ago, 2023. So yeah, my undergrad was in computer engineering. I initially didn't plan to do engineering, so I was more leaning towards computer science, but as luck would have it, I ended up doing a degree in engineering. And so yeah, that's basically most of it. Then I joined the bank right after graduation. Some of the things that I do on the side is, I'm really into fitness stuff. So cycling, I love hiking. I really like trying new things. So that's basically me on my pastime, aside what I do on a day-to-day with my job. So yeah,
Great, great. Amazing to have you here with us as well.
yeah.
So, going into the panel discussion, I'm going to start with you, Miriam. Looking
hmm
back at where you started and where you are now as an AVP software engineer, what is one decision, opportunity, or mindset shift that you believe made the biggest difference in you getting here?
Okay. So I've always been someone who is very big on consistency and discipline. And I guess a lot of people will be able to relate to this. There's lots of stuff we do in life that we don't necessarily want to do, but we have to do them to get the results that we want, right? So, as I'd mentioned briefly earlier on, I initially wanted to do computer science, but my parents had thought doing engineering would give me a wider range of options, career options in life. So, I just decided to take on the challenge. So, I made sure like I was consistent, I made sure that I was diligent, I made sure I was disciplined. So, basically, every single course I did, I took it like, I need to get this done for the end goal of making sure that I graduate with very good grades and also making sure I'm employable. Because if we think about it, the whole point, most people go to university is to get a job. So you have to make sure you're doing courses, you have to make sure you're studying a course in the first place. that would make you employable. Because if you're doing a degree and you can't answer where am I going to work at the end of this, then maybe like you need to like reassess or think about things, right? So as I've said, some of the things that made me get to where I am today is just the focus on consistency, the focus on discipline, and also not giving up because it's not always going to be easy. There are lots of applications I put out there that I got rejected. I just had to get up and keep applying and keep learning new things. So I would say the mindset of continuous learning, focus and discipline has actually made a really big difference. Thank you.
Great
Yeah.
to hear. Great to hear. And I love how you reference that you're essentially going to school at the end of the day to get a good job. So
Yep.
going to school with that mindset just shifts everything for you. And it's
Hmm.
something that our audience you should be incorporating as well.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next question. This question will be going to Chisom. As an African student breaking into a global tech role, what technical skills or projects did you lead with in your application? And what convinced you that Bank of America was the right engineering environment to grow in?
Okay, so those are like two questions. I wanted to be sure I'm unmuted. What technical skills did I move with? I think I, not I think, I intentionally positioned myself as a builder pretty early in my career. And this is something that's I wouldn't really say it's very common in Nigerian universities. I studied computer science. We were, for most of the part of my stay in like my university was mostly theory, you know, writing code and just doing like the bare minimum. But moving to your final year, you get to build something. But I started a bit early. I think that's what really set me apart from, potentially people that were waiting till like their final year in school, right? And so I started building things early. I remember in my second year in university, I thought of an application to build. The goal was to launch the application on Play Store. I had the impression that, oh, you have to work for a company, you have to, have like a product designer, a backend person, and all of that. But I did something very simple, like an MVP. I launched it, and the audience I got was amazing. And that was what gave me the confidence to even do more and to build more. So I think one thing that stood out for me was the fact that I started building early. I started doing the hard things early. I did not wait to get a job or to have like a particular title. I also didn't let the fact that I was a student stop me from, doing those very big things. So technically that's what I led with. And yeah, that was even one of the reasons I feel like I got into BOA because I talked about my application during the interviews and it was like, thumbs up, you did great. We didn't expect this from you at this stage, but you did it. Why did I choose BOA for my first start? To be very honest, I wanted a company that would help me build at scale and also learn at scale. And so many people have different directions when they finish school. You either go like the startup route or you go the big tech route. But my entire journey was mostly big tech, even though now I'm more startup. Um, on the startup side, but I wanted a company that I can build at a large scale. BOA was a really huge, really huge company, and being thrown into that ambiguity, you're building for a whole lot of people. So that was one thing that I prioritized, and I'm like, okay, I have this opportunity. I'm still a student. It's going to look really good on my CV moving forward. I haven't done anything financial services. And so going for it was like a no-brainer.
Great to hear. And I like how you took initiative at a very early age that really helped you. And our audience, these are some very good insights to keep in mind. So I hope you are taking notes. Moving on to the next question. This will be going to Miriam. Can you walk us through what a typical morning looks like for you as a software engineer at Bank of America? And what are you actually building or solving? Also, what would most people get wrong about what this role really involves?
Okay, so I guess I would maybe explain what my team does a little because that would, I guess, set the background. So I guess being at the bank, I've switched teams like 3 times now. So each role kind of looks different, but there's a bit of similarities, and I guess I'll share that. But what my current team does is, so it's in the regulatory and transaction reporting space. So essentially what happens is, we have trades and transactions that go through the bank, millions and millions on a day to day. So what my team does is we collect all that data, we enrich, do a couple of functions, do a couple of things, clean, blah, blah, blah. And then we send it to downstream systems that then do the reporting because some of these transactions need to be reported to regulators. Some of them is like, if it happens in 5 minutes, some of them 20 minutes, some of them it could be you report the next day. So what my team does is I'll basically explain it as I would say data manipulation, data cleaning, data processing. So that's what my current team does. In my previous team, I was more of handling the reporting of those transactions. So what does my day-to-day look like? So my day-to-day looks like I log in the morning, I go through the emails. What do I have to do today? What do I need to catch up on? What are the major tasks? So my team works with the basic software engineering, I guess, type of process. We have Agile, Scrum, daily meetings, and all of that. So think about Agile, think about what goes into that. So that's my team. So you go through the emails, have your tasks for the day. I already have Jira's I've picked from the backlog. I'm probably going to continue working on some tasks that I picked up. Or pick up a new task if I don't have anything or I've finished what I was working on before. And there's lots of production issues or support that I'm gonna have to do throughout the day. So it's like I'm coding, I go check my emails. It's like, oh, why isn't this working? Or there's an issue with this, or blah blah. You go respond to that, go back to coding. And then you have your lunch break that I use to catch up with my work friends. That's the highlights of my day usually. And then, what I try to do, I guess around 4, 5 is just make a note of some of the things I'll need to do tomorrow. So just like a to-do list of this is where I am today and this is what I need to do the following day. So yeah, I guess that my day-to-day is just mostly coding, production support, checking emails, and just I guess either designing something or being in some team meeting thereabouts. So the second part of the question is what would most people get wrong about the role? I'm just gonna say what I got wrong about the role, and maybe this applies to a lot of people when they apply for technical roles within big tech companies, especially banks. A lot of us coming out of universities, especially if you're someone who's used to building something, deploying something, you're always doing like contributing to your GitHub repo. You think you just get the job and all of a sudden you're building an application, you're saving the world, you're making like this gigantic code change. But working in a big organization, you'd have to understand that it's a big organization because there are multiple components, there are multiple moving parts. So when you get into the job, you're not just this one star that is going to build this application and save the bank or save the world. You're contributing to a team that is like a larger like web of people. There's lots of opportunities for you to contribute. There's lots of things that you're going to have to do, but you're going to have the mindset that I'm not going to build Rome in one day. You're going to have to learn a lot on the job. And because it's a bank, think about it, like they're not just waiting for you to save them. It's a bank. So a lot of the structures, coding, the applications have already been built. So most of what you're doing is technical enhancements, improvements, adding new features, not like, oh, I'm going to build this whole thing by myself. That's different if you're working in a startup or a purely tech company like maybe Google or Meta or so on. But working in a bank is more of, especially because the bank is heavily regulated. So it's more of like code improvement, adding to features. And yet when we have new projects, it's more of you then adding on and just contributing in that sort of way. So I guess that's one of the things that people could misinterpret when you apply for the job thinking, oh, I'm going to build an application. Not everything is about an application. And sometimes an application is not always a solution to a problem. Yeah.
Very insightful. And I know most of the people in the audience are rethinking what exactly this job entails. Thank you for sharing that, Miriam.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the next question. This will be going to Chisom. Can you also walk us through what a typical day on the engineering side at Bank of America looks like? What systems are you working on? What does your development cycle look like? And what technical problems are you most likely to be deep in by mid-morning? That's a very specific question.
Yeah, and it's also long too. Let me try and see. So I'll just give like a brief overview of my internship experience. I I had like a full time from the bank. I think I haven't really mentioned this, but I had like a full time offer from the bank. And I remember trying to make the decision between, being in my team because I was doing really great work and I love the team. I love the problem that we were solving. So remembering it now is like it's like really nice. So I was working as part of the robotics process automation team, that's RPA. And so basically our job was automations, trying to automate critical processes that take so much time and also human resources. So we have data that backs up a couple of workflows that we build. We don't just build a workflow because we can build it or because the software exists to build it. We actually want to build workflows that improve operational efficiency, give people back their time, and also make more money for the company in terms of like speed. And so basically, we have a couple of workflows that we basically design specifically using UiPath. And I'm not sure if the technology is very popular, but we're using UiPath and just everything about computer science is basically input, process, output, right? And so taking in that process, before a process has to be done, you need input from users. Let's say I'm somebody that's at the front desk of the bank. If I want to do my work today, what kind of data do I need? So that process needs to have that data. And so it's most likely digitalizing those human efforts into code and control flow. So it's very tricky because you don't want your flow to make a mistake because that would cause like a ripple effect for other teams, right? And so it was really nice seeing a couple of flows that we were building and we'll just call a team and tell them, oh, you guys don't really need to do this anymore. You just click the run button and everything goes, right? So aside identifying workflows to improve, we also did a lot of fine-tuning, making sure that they were either more faster, making sure that they were more efficient, and just making sure that whatever data, whatever output we're getting for it, from it was, pretty accurate. So that was a summary of basically all that I worked on. It was really complicated, to be fair, because I haven't done anything like that before. I was literally, still in school, but it was quite interesting to see how much impacts technology makes in like financial services and yeah.
Amazing to hear. Technology really is a game changer. Moving on to Miriam, what are some of the key engineering skills and technical mindsets that matter most in this role? And what did you actually do to build them?
Okay, so I'm currently like a back-end developer, so I guess bare minimum is you should be able to have your back-end technical skills, even though you learn on the job. You should, if you're applying for a software engineering role and the team you're gonna be in is like you're coding, for example, in Java or Python, you should be able to like code. So I think one of the biggest skills I've learned is important in my role is the ability to convert technical speech, so to say, to normal English to stakeholders. Because it's one thing to know what you're doing, but if you're not able to explain to someone else in normal English what you're doing, it looks like you don't know what you're doing. Do you get what I mean? So with my team, we work a lot with business facing people. So basically, I have to convert what I'm trying to do with, let's say, Java or Python, and then I have to let them know like what is the business impact? What's the actual change in plain English? If you tell them, oh, I'm going to write this, I'm designing this system to do this, and this function is going to do, and like, okay, but how does this affect the business? What does this actually mean for me? So I think one of the skills people don't focus enough on is technical soft skills. You need to be able to explain what you're doing confidently to someone who actually doesn't know how to code. That's when you actually can understand that actually I know what I'm doing. I understand this project. I understand this task. If all you know how to do is just say the technical bits of it to sound smart, but you're not able to relate that, I think there's a gap in knowledge there. So I think that's one of the skills that I would say people should look forward to learning. Um, what was the second part of the question?
Which one, let me reference that. Which one is critical the most
Mhm.
in your job?
Yeah. and what did I do to build them? So as I said, explaining the technical part of the job, and I think soft skills as well. Um, Presentation skills. Sometimes you have a task, you're going to have to present, or you've designed something, like you've designed a solution, or you want to tell your team you think they should do it this way. People are going to ask questions. You need to be able to understand your project in depth and be ready for any questions. Oh, why are you using this instead of that? Oh, you need to defend yourself. So you need to be able to speak in front of people audibly and in a convincing way as well. So I would say mostly soft skills because these days I don't want to say anyone can code, but moving on to a time where AI is doing a lot of things that software engineers used to do, the focus shouldn't be, I know how to code in Python, I know how to code in Java. It's what can you do beyond that? I think that's a question we should all ask ourselves today. What can we do beyond that? 5 years ago, when I was going into uni, I was thinking, oh, I need to be such a good Python programmer. I need to be such a good Java programmer. Right now, the focus is how do we use the AI tools? How do we leverage AI to make our work easier, faster, and more accurate? So it's mostly about soft skills. How do you present yourself? What's your aura like? You know, yeah, I think that's it.
That's great. I just like the little insights and the thought-provoking questions you give our audience today. And moving on to Miriam. Oh, sorry, moving on to Chisom.
Yeah.
As a technology analyst at Bank of America, what did a working day actually look like from a technical standpoint? And what tools and languages did you work with? Also, what kind of problems are you solving and how much of the role was hands-on engineering versus collaborating with others?
Okay, so I think I've answered part of this already in terms
Mhm.
of like
Yeah.
technology and workflow, but to the engineering customer facing bits, as interns, I don't think I had a lot of interaction with like our direct stakeholders. So we're basically just getting um direction from like the senior engineers that were, ahead of us. So yeah, I think it was 80% technical for us, but sometimes we get to be on like calls with customers to actually understand. But yeah, for that was like 80% technical, 20% customer
Mm,
facing.
okay. And in terms of the work that you were doing, the technical aspect of the work, how hands-on was it?
Yeah, it was pretty hands-on. Like hands-on, do you mean coding or like implementation? Just to understand where the structure
Oh,
of it.
either way, either coding, implementation, just basically how deep did you get into it and how like understand coming from a new angle, like seeing
Oh
all
no,
these
it was
new
hands-on.
ideas.
It was hands-on. They
Yeah.
would definitely not hire you if they feel like you cannot do like the bare minimum. I'm not saying that it was we were building like maybe robotic systems that were so complicated, right? Some people were doing that, but on an intern level, we you should just know how to do the bare minimum. You should know how to think about code in a structured manner. So it's not necessarily like Miriam mentioned, oh, I know how to code in Python, I know how to code in Java. You should be able to be flexible. I think um that's one of the qualities they would most likely look out for because number one, you don't know the team that you're going to be in.
Yeah.
You don't know the kind of work that you're doing. So they want someone that can be flexible enough and open enough to learning new things because you're going to move around quite a bit, right? So you shouldn't just say, oh, I am a Java engineer, I'm a Python engineer. Just call yourself an engineer that loves solving problems, right? So yeah, it was pretty hands-on, but you have to be ready to learn something. I didn't know anything about UiPath. I didn't even know that UiPath even existed, but I had to learn it in a very short period of time so I could deliver and work and obviously get paid. But yeah, it's pretty hands-on. Yeah.
Amazing insight. So, guys, two things to take from this: be flexible and also see yourself as a problem solver. Be quick to learn. Actually, that's three things. Thank you for sharing that, Chisom. Wonderful insights there. Moving on to, oh, there's a question to you both, actually. I'll start with Miriam. For students who want to work in this division, what does the technology landscape inside Bank of America actually look like? Can you walk us through the teams, the tools? I think they've mentioned the tools. So just walk us through the teams and where software engineering and data plus AI intersect in the work you do.
Mm. Okay, that's a good question. I think as Shisum said, you don't know what team you're going to end up in. So whatever I say now might apply to some people and also might not apply to other people. Because you could tell them, oh, I've done all this back end programming, and then you get thrown into a team that only does front end, and you now have to start learning all the front end tools. Be like, oh, I've never used JavaScript before, I've never used React before, but then you learn. So that's why you're a software engineer. Engineering means you're able to face on difficult problems, quickly find a solution and get up to speed. So what do the teams look like? A lot of the teams, I would say, are very focused on teamwork. Most of them use agile way of working. So it's more of we have daily meetings, we prioritize work, we have a backlog, we use Jira to manage our tickets, to manage our tasks. Um, some teams use Kanban as well, which is basically also another form of software engineering to help us do our work. But I'll say most of the teams are very like we work together, we have meetings, most people develop together. So with the three teams I've been in since I joined the bank, there's usually a structure of we have a team lead, we have senior developers, and then we have junior developers, we have analysts, we have interns. So it's a mix of everyone. So basically, everyone kind of does similar things, but the senior engineers mostly focus on making most of the architectural or design decisions. So as a junior developer, I could draw up a blueprint saying, oh, for this project, this is what I think we should do. But we're not just going to implement it without the yes from the senior engineer. So they go through and they're like, okay, this makes sense. Or how about actually let's do it this way? Or have you looked at the database connection this way? Or blah, 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 blah. And then they either approve or make suggestions. So the team role is usually we have a manager, you have senior engineers, junior engineers, interns, apprentices, so on and so forth. But most of us use the agile methodology to do our day-to-day work. Work from home. I don't know if this is part of the question, but my team, you go in 3 days in and you could work from home any 2 days you want. So that's also another perk of the job, work from home. Um, where the second part of the question, I think you mentioned something about AI and engineering. Could you just ask that part again?
Sure, sure. So the second part of the question was the teams, the tools, and where
Mm.
software engineering, data, and AI intersect in your role.
Okay, so I'll say. Given the bank is a regulated environment, compared to like other industries or startups that are so quick to adopt the latest AI technologies and so on, we kind of follow like steps and I guess the risk appetite is like we want to onboard all those lovely things, but we take our time, we assess, we test, we monitor before we then take it on to our daily tasks. So I'll say right now the bank is actually, looking to introduce some of the AI technologies that we have out there, but it's more of like for our day-to-day tasks, not like production deployments at the moment. But I would say to everyone on this call, if you've never looked into um, AI, what it is, the tools, AI agents, how do you build with this? How do you implement it? I think you need to do that because even just looking at a lot of the job roles right now, you would see a line that would say, must be keen to learn AI tools or must have knowledge or must be interested to learn. Like the job market is basically hinting to us right now that that's the direction it's pointing. So now is not the time to say I'm very good in coding in Python. I'm very good in coding in Java. You need to give yourself an edge. So I'll just encourage everyone on this call right now, go watch a video, go do some short course or something and learn more about machine learning, learn more about AI agents. I've strayed from the question, but that's basically it. Thank you.
That's actually very great insights. Thank you for sharing that, Miriam. So, Chiso, I have another question for you. I know Miriam has shared a lot, so I'm going to dive into the next one. The question is, what is the difference between working in tech at Bank of America versus working in tech at a pure technology company, like say Google? And for a student deciding between the two, what would you tell them about why fintech is worth considering?
Okay. I think that's a very nice question, especially for me, because after Bank of America, I moved to Microsoft, which was like a product company. And that was something that fueled my, decision to go for Microsoft instead of like full-time at the bank. So how I see it is technology plays different roles in different industries. And, as a student, and to be fair, at this point in your life, you might not really know where you want to be. I know people that enjoy being software engineers at hedge funds, financial services, energy, fashion. I know people that are working at like M&S and they love it there. But I think for someone like me, I wanted a product company. I'm more of a product engineer kind of that's my flavor of engineering basically. And I knew that I'm going to do really great work at the bank, especially if I had like passion for financial services. I do, but it's not that it's not that deep, right? I love it, but it's not that deep. And so when I had to pick between staying full time as a software engineer at Bank of America and also starting a new grad job at Microsoft. I went for Microsoft because it aligned better with what I wanted to do in the future. And I'm not saying that I picked Microsoft because it's better, right? So you just need to understand yourself and understand that you're an engineer. You're coming to solve problems in an engineering way, and you can basically do that in any industry. But you just need to know and understand the kind of products that you're going to be building. I worked on the Windows engineering team at Microsoft. It was something that I related to so much because I've used the Windows OS for so long. So being an engineer on that team and understanding how Windows 10 scales, for instance, or Windows 11, how do we build this better? How do we track adoption? Things like that. I could relate to that. Whereas someone that maybe studied banking and finance and got into tech to work as an engineer might just want to work at maybe BOA, Goldman, Bloomberg, any of those companies, right? So it's understanding where you want to be. But I would always want to point out that if you get the opportunity, just take it, right? Don't say, oh, there are better companies outside, or let me just wherever you find yourself. I had an option, so I went with what I wanted. But sometimes you don't really get that freedom to choose. So just take it. I know that one good thing about working at big companies is the fact that you can move around. So if, for instance, you don't like the department that you're in, like Miriam mentioned, you can speak to your manager. Oh, I want to try out this new department. I want to try out this department that is building this that aligns with me better, and you can just move around. But all the industries that I just mentioned, they're really good, they're really interesting, but you just need to find where you just have the perfect fit and you love the work you're doing and you're just happy basically.
Amazing insights. So, our audience, I hope you are taking something from this and you get to self-reflect later on. As we're about wrapping up, I have one question. This is to both of you, and I will start with Miriam on this one. What should a student be doing right now from this week, not just this year, themselves a competitive applicant for a technology role at Bank of America? Basically, what does a strong application look like?
So I think it's easy to say you know something, but you need to show proof. So number one, I would say build relevant experience. Build, build, build. You need to show them projects. You need to be able to defend those projects. And while you're talking about the projects, then they would actually understand that, oh, this person actually knows what they're talking about. So number one is build relevant experience. If you could go for hackathons, if you could do internships before that one, if you could just do some side projects on your own, explore something new that you haven't tried before and just put it on your CV. It counts. One of the things I did when I was applying for the bank is I just slapped on my technical projects in uni, my side projects, I just put it on there. And that was basically the whole discussion during my interview. Like, oh, you did this. Oh, nice. Interesting. What did you use? Oh, I've done something similar. And then you guys start talking about it. So I'll say build relevant experience because experience always beats like theory because you could say, oh, I learned this in uni, then it's like, okay, and so like what did you do with that? Another thing will be tailor your CV to the role. A lot of people just use one CV to apply for everything. That's basically a mistake. If you're applying for a job at Bank of America and then you want to apply for a different job at a different company, for example, let's say Goldman or let's say even like Google, your CV shouldn't be the same. You need to look at what does this company kind of like and what do the job descriptions kind of say that I could put in keywords to put in my CV, because basically what happens is I don't think anyone looks through every single CV. You need to have keywords on your CV that align to that role, and then basically there's a software that is then going to filter through and look for the best matches and so on and so forth. But you need to tailor your CV to the role. So that's one of the things that I would encourage. So I've said two things right now. Build relevant experience and then tailor your CV to the role. That's it.
Powerful, powerful. Chisom, do you have anything you'd like to add on?
Yeah, so I would say times are a bit different now. Getting into these kind of companies, I wouldn't say were a bit easier back then, but it was a little bit straightforward. You do good work, they notice you. But right now, to be very honest, it's quite hard because the bar is a bit higher. So you have like a pool of people applying for the same job. Most of them have a lot of experience because AI is most likely enabling people to build better stuff, especially people that weren't really strong technically. So it's like a mix of very chaotic things, right? So I think my one advice would be look for something that you have a fair advantage in and stand out in that thing. If you know how to come up with ideas, but you don't know how to build, try to learn how to use AI assisted tools to build what you want to build. If you're good at speaking, if you're good at making videos, I mean, the job market is wild. I won't even lie. But as a student, look for how you can stand out. If there are activities going on in your school that you need to be part of, join those activities. If you have like a group of friends that are doing something very differently, be in that circle. So just understand that the dynamics have changed now, and you need to look for something that you can use to stand out so you can, showcase your
Yeah.
skills a bit better.
Yeah.
Amazing insights. Amazing insights. And as we are wrapping up, a final word of advice to all the people on this call who are seriously considering applying for a technology role at Bank of America through SEO Africa. So I'm going to start with Miriam on this one. Final word of advice to our younger people on this call.
I think I'll just say don't give up. I know it sounds very vague and you've heard this over and over again, but the more you try, somehow, I feel like a lot of things with this application, especially how Chisholm has said that the job market is very saturated right now. It's a mix of your hard work and also your consistency and maybe a little bit of luck, to be fair. So if you ever get a rejection, don't think that you're the problem. Think that there's thousands and thousands of people also applying for the one same job. So it's a probability game. The more you apply for different things, one day, surely with your consistency and good, resume and so on, you would break even. So I would just say, just build the skills, keep being consistent. Don't give up and say, oh, I didn't get in, so I'm not gonna keep practicing my leak code anymore. I'm not gonna build a project because I'm not. Just make sure you need to develop a tough skin. That's what I would say. You need to develop a tough skin because you would make it. You just have to keep going. Yeah. That's what I would say.
You make it, you just have to keep going. Amazing insights. So, Chisum, final words of advice to our younger ones on this call.
I think the first thing would be don't doubt yourself one bit. I remember when someone sent me the link to apply for this Bank of America internship. And I was like, should they accept me? Would they not accept me? And all of that. But I still went ahead to apply because I usually tell myself the people that are working at these companies, they don't have two heads, right? If they can get there, then I can get there, right? So don't doubt yourself. It's like a mindset thing. See it like you're coming as a student, you're coming as an intern to contribute to the company. And that's the mindset you should have when you're literally applying for anything. They're not doing you a favor. It's actually an exchange of value. And seeing it that way makes you more confident. Even when you're speaking during interviews, you're not fidgeting, you're not saying, oh, are they going to pick me? Are they going to select me? No, you're actually explaining and showcasing how valuable you will be as an employee. So the first thing is change your mindset, right? Understand that these companies are big, but people are working there, and so you can too. Another thing would be prepare as much as possible. Don't downplay how hard the interviews might be because you're going to do quite a lot. You're going to do like the video interview, you're going to do the technical interviews, and they're going to drill you quite a bit. So understand your onions as a student. I think one of my interviews was like a programming language interview. They asked me some, I mentioned my programming language was Java. So they went ahead to ask me some OOP, object-oriented fundamentals, and I answered them. So it's having a different situation if they ask me, oh, what is inheritance? And I'm like, sorry, what's that? So you really need to understand what you're doing and just showcase that you're coming to give value and just be confident knowing that you get it. And even if it does not work out, you can still try again and still go for it, like Miriam said.
Amazing, amazing. At this point, we are done with the panel session for today's info session on technology and data analytics. I would like to thank Miriam and Chisum. Thank you so much for taking time to speak with our audience today and share your insights with them. I know it has been a very valuable session. I can see some hands up already. I'll pass it along to my colleague Chika to continue with the next part of this program. That's the Q&A. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you to our panel for this very wonderful information you have shared with our audience. Our audience, can you show some appreciation to the panel? Just show some reaction to appreciate them for the very good information they have shared. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So at this point, we are the Q&A session. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand and I would call you to ask your question. Okay. So I can see Blessing. Blessing, please unmute and speak.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can everybody hear me, please?
Yeah.
Yes, you can do it.
All right. So well done to the speakers. I know Chisom very well because I'm on Twitter, but Miriam, I don't know you, and I'm going to go and look for you. Please, are you on Twitter?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Anyways, I'm a product designer, so I want to ask like a very relatable question. I'm sure I'm going to be speaking for like a whole lot of people here. So first of all, everyone is saying, okay, Bank of America, Bank of America, Bank of America. But if you are staying in Nigeria, I'm staying in Nigeria now, and I'm into tech. I'm a product designer. Are there internship opportunities for product designers over there? And also, if Bank of America is located in America, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so if let's even say we are chosen, like how do we even start the movement? How do we get there?
So I guess there are different branches. First of all, we have different offices in the US, but there's also offices in the UK. So I'm currently based in the London office. So we have one in London, there's even one in Dublin and Chester. So basically there's different locations, right? So the first question is, are there opportunities for product designers? The answer is yes, because we have products and we have people that help us, design those products, and technology would then, I guess, implement whatever is designed there. But my team doesn't work without structure, but I know other teams that do work without structure, so there is opportunities for that. So basically, the question on relocation, I guess that's up to personal preference because for me, I schooled in Ghana. So I lived in Nigeria up until high school and then I moved to Ghana for uni. And I just always knew that I didn't want to live in Nigeria full time. So what I'd done is I didn't really have much like in terms of moving. So when I got the opportunity, I basically just carried whatever few things I had and moved. So the question of the relocation, do you mean more of in like visa support
Yes,
or
exactly. The visa, and yes,
okay,
that.
yes. So, Bank of America does help support and provide sponsorship for applicants, especially for the internship. So that's what I would say with regards to that. So it's just more of once you get the role, your recruiter would give you the details of, sponsorship, how that would go, so on and so forth.
Okay, and also your accommodation, where you're going to stay, is it sorted out before you get there? Or you'd
No,
have to sort that out yourself?
so are we talking about internship or full time?
Yes, internship.
So with the internship, I think it's a situation of I need to ask because when I was interning, they did help sort that out before you got there. But I think in recent times, it might have changed a little where you're gonna have to find your own, like they call it students accommodations, and
Okay.
then you'd have to just research in that and then sort that out yourself. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm
But
clear.
the bank would help you like in terms of suggestions, like assisting and so on. But you'd have to, I guess, share that.
Okay. Also, sorry, I can't remember his name. Sorry, Chika. Is it Chika or Chike?
Yes, go ahead,
The
Blessing.
okay, check. Huh?
Shika, yes.
Okay, Chika, yes. In the beginning, you mentioned for you to qualify, you have to be doing a data course, like a data analytic course.
No, you can apply to this pillar, uh, irrespective of the course you are reading.
Okay.
What is important is that you should have interest in this area, first of all. So you should have that demonstrable interest in wanting to pursue a career in this field. That's what is important, not necessarily studying data analytics or anything around that. It's about the interest. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm clear now. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you. Peter, please ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much to our speakers. My question is this: as someone who has had a share of experience in the finance industry, starting from IT support to DevOps work, I'm currently a DevOps engineer and it's one of the financials. How can someone harness this kind of opportunity to grow himself or herself in aspect of becoming a better DevOps engineer or a better software developer through this kind of program outside the internship um, role? Is there an
All right.
opportunity for employment of junior, not necessarily an internship role? Those kind of opportunities are they available? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Peter. System, will you like to respond?
Okay, so you're asking if you can come into the Bank of America as not a student. So basically, you're not a student. Is that
Yes, I'm not a student. Yes, I'm not a student.
so?
I'm
How far long was your graduation date?
5 years ago.
Okay. Okay, I'm asking because I think there are like different hierarchies, and this is common with most companies. So there's like you come in as an intern or you come in as a new graduate. That's someone that just recently graduated, but you won't be qualified for that. So at this point, you most likely be coming in as an experienced professional. And so there are a couple of roles. I haven't looked at the career page in a bit, but there are a couple of roles for software engineers, senior software engineers, depending on like the ranking. So what you just have to do is to look for the one that aligns mostly with um DevOps, backend, platforms, infrastructure. You might not really see this on the job title, but if you read through the description, you would understand the roles that are more product facing, data facing, or platform. Yeah.
Oh,
All
thank you
right.
very much for that clarification.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Father Han, Daniel, I can see your hand up. Please ask your question. Please ask one question. And for the rest of you who have questions to ask, please ask a single question. Thank you.
Okay. So my question is basically, how do you quantify achievements in like a startup environment? And what I mean is you are not yet serving a user, you're still working on like a product that has not been released. So if you work at a company, say for about like 6 months, and you worked and they did not launch the product and you left the company and you want to basically quantify your achievements on your resume, how would you recommend that I go about doing that? Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So how would I do this if I were in your shoes? I think I would drill down more on my design decisions since, you are building something, it hasn't gone to market, but at least you built like the MVP, and that's something, right? So you can most likely talk about the design decisions that you made and, why you made them future facing, what kind of users were you looking at launching this application to? Were they like in the same country? So basically just building at scale, but explaining on your resume why you did that. In terms of metrics, I honestly believe that ChatGPT can help you with how you can point this out, right, in a very accurate way. So this might be maybe collecting um metrics might not necessarily be cost or anything or how it affected the business. It can just be how you optimize the speed or the efficiency of that application? Did you use like maybe a storage system that made things faster, or did you propose a particular technology that would most likely save your company money when the application goes live? So think in a dynamic way, not just, okay, I made the company X amount of money or we shipped to like 1 million users. Even though that did not happen, the beginning phase of you building at the MVP, making design decisions and making sure that you're building in a cost-effective way, there are so many ways that you can quantify that, no matter how little.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
All right, thank you. Yes, and I also add that if you check on our website, you'll see a CV template, and that's to all of you. You'll see a CV template there that you could leverage in crafting your CV. It's called Yao Oben CV. Yeah, so you can just navigate our website. You'll find that CV template there that you can use right on yours. Okay, Ike Chuku, I can see your hand up. Please. Okay, before him, Frederick, please ask your question. Frederick.
Yeah,
Frederick.
hello, good. Good. This my question is business. So in an investment bank scenario, merging it with IT and technology, has there been any situation where you've actually there has been a merge or there has been a how do I put it? Like the business side, the um investment bank scenario actually is merging with the IT. So normally we as IT people we don't actually focus on the business side of things. But has there been a scenario where like you have to actually use the business or the investment mindset in the technology space? And also in Bank of America, when you mention technology, right? Is cybersecurity, those under cybersecurity, part of the technological part. And also when you are applying for these roles and you are applying as a technology, like in this technology environment, and you want to actually work under the cybersecurity part of it, is how does it go through? How does it work? Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Miriam, I think you can
Yeah.
respond to
Okay, I think there's like three questions in there. I'll try with the
three in one. Yeah.
I'll try
Yeah,
with the
please.
first.
All right.
I
Yeah,
think I'll
but
just
please,
start
we'll
with
ask each question. Ask one question each for the rest of you. Sorry, Miriam.
yeah,
Please continue.
I'll just answer the first one and then maybe give other people a chance. And if you still have the question, you could ask me later. So for the first one, you're asking how we tying investment banking. So at the end of the day, technology is at the heart of what we do at the bank and even in our personal lives on a day-to-day, right? So the Global Technology Division, we support across every other division because if you think about it, every single one needs technology to some extent. So even investment banking, right? We have technologies that also support the investment bankers because we have trading platforms, we have products that we're trading in, we're selling in, and each of these need to be supported by technology because why? We have systems that are going to help perform these transactions. We have systems that are going to help process these transactions. And who is going to help, write the code behind all of these things? Technology, right? So, for example, in my current team, right? all the data that comes in, I'm having to learn the business part of the product. So my team trades, we report futures and options. Before I joined this team, I had little knowledge about what those were. And also ETDs, right? Exchange traded derivatives. But now I'm having to understand, oh, if I see this field or I see this, there's a red flag here, or maybe based on the logic. So we basically are implementing the logic, like, oh, if you see this and you see that this is a buy, this is a sell. So I need to understand the trade. I need to understand the products that was being, either bought or sold to make sure that the data we're passing through makes sense. So you don't need like a finance degree, but if there's one thing you do is you would probably learn on the job if your team needs that. So no one's going to ask you, oh, have you ever worked with exchange traded derivatives as an intern? No one expects you to know. What you know is, can you code? Do you have an engineering mindset? And when you get on the job, they'll tell you this is what our team does, and you kind of need to do research on this, and then you would just pick it up, to be fair. So that's the first part of the question. I think I'll leave the other two because of time, if that's okay.
All right. Thank you, Miriam. Yes. So we'll go to Ikechukwu. So after Ikechukwu, I'll pick Jesse and Chidera, and that should be it for the questions. So Ikechukwu, please ask your question.
Okay, good day, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank SEO for hosting this event. Yeah, it is very thoughtful of you guys, and yeah, thank you so much for that. And I also want to thank the speakers as well. We all love your insights, and yeah, we really appreciate all of them as well. Thank you so much for all the insights that you've given us. Okay, so the question, I will refer this to Chisom. Yeah, is referring to what you said about working in RPA. That is, I think it's something concerning robots, right? So I just want to ask, I'm kind of curious if you mean if they are physical robots or they are digital robots, right? Yeah, so um like as in what does it take to be in that field as well? Because I'm actually keen to learning about robotics and AI as well. Yeah. So that is the question. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so not not actual physical products, but mostly automation. So when you think of RPA, you're thinking of RPA stands for robotic. Okay, I think you already mentioned that robotic process automation. So basically, you automating processes, but putting guardrails in place in such a way that your data will be accurate, your output will be accurate, the flow will be accurate. So it's not like physical robotics. But if you love automation, if you love seeing things streamlined, if you love things moving fast, that's the kind of team that you would, thrive in. And now with AI that's here, you can even introduce like things like agentic AI engineering, where you can deploy agents to even do faster work, right? Depending on if your team is open to integrating those kind of technologies. But yeah, it's not physical robots.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much. But like, as in, what does it take, for you to, be in that kind of field? Like, as in, what do you have to learn about it all?
Okay, being in that kind of, for you to get into that kind of team in the bank, or you personally, you want to become an automations engineer, is that what you're asking?
Yes, 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 it is.
Oh, okay. There's so many ways that you can describe automation. UiPath RPA is just one of it. So I mentioned agentic AI is also a sort of like pivot that you can make. So
Mm.
core concepts would just basically be software engineering. That's like the fundamental, understand how systems work, understand how data flows, understand, different decision making that you have to do when you're building like a basic system. Then any other thing you can integrate on top of that would be maybe picking up on all these other tools. But yeah, I think foundational learning would just be the core concepts of computer science and how regular systems work. Then you can now pivot into the automation side of things.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah,
All
that
right.
works. Okay, thank you so much.
Jesse,
Yeah.
Jesse, please unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So my question is more centered towards a specific scenario. Okay, so I graduated in 2024 with a bachelor degree in computer engineering. As such, I know this session was more centered towards the summer internships, but I wanted to join to kind of learn more about the opportunities, even for recent graduate as well. So my question is the hiring process similar for full-time candidates and interns? And what usually helps someone in my situation stand out for software engineering roles? That's my question.
Okay, so you're asking about a full-time role. Is that it?
Yes, please. For someone like me who graduated in 2024.
Okay. This session is not for it was particularly about internships, but maybe Chisom, if you want to respond to that, or Miriam, any of you.
Sorry, Miriam, do you want to take that or I should go ahead?
Oh, you could go ahead.
Okay. So you're asking if there are opportunities for new grads at the bank?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think I answered, someone asked this something similar. So you either come in as an intern or if you're past, or I think if you've graduated or if you're about to graduate, you can come in. If you're not go no longer going back to school, you can come in as a new grad. So yes, there are opportunities, but you have to be on the lookout for them. I think they're called, it has like a different job title. Miriam can specify so
Mm,
you know what you can look out for on the job site.
yeah. I think it's still going to be like technology analyst.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a full-time role, yeah.
Okay.
Or it could also be software engineer one. But if you're a
Okay.
junior developer, you could apply for software engineer two. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, you could apply full-time directly. You don't always have to go through the internship route.
Yeah. So you can just look out for the ones or the twos, but yeah, it's still the same. It's not the
Hmm.
same files, but they're still available on the site.
Yes. All right, thank you. So I'll take Chidera finally. Because of time, we're unable to take a lot of questions. So I'll take Chidera, and that should it. Thank you. Chidera, please go ahead. Chidera, please unmute and speak. Okay. Um, let's move to Uraula. Uraula, sorry. If you can hear me, I'm sorry if I didn't get your name right. Please unmute and
Yeah,
speak.
that's good evening. So my question is for someone like me coming from a non-technical background, but I've been doing some, self-learning, work on some projects. You say position yourself to show you have genuine interest because we have people coming from computer science background, engineering background. How do I position myself to show that it's not just I'm trying this out, it's actually genuine interest through my interview process?
So it was difficult hearing you, but if I got you right, you're asking about how you demonstrate interest during the interview process. Is that correct?
How I would position myself with genuine interest coming from a non-technical background compared to people that are coming from backgrounds of computer science, engineering. How do I, you say position yourself genuine interest. How can I do that? Coming from a non-technical background.
Okay. So I'll give the floor to any of them to respond, but I would say you should show your CV. So like the template I was talking about, you can leverage it to see how your sentences should be structured. Yes. So that's one aspect of it. But any of our panel
But like
members.
space, like interview, that's what I mean, like maybe having conversation
All right,
technically.
that's fine. Very well. That's fine. Yes.
I could
Miriam, Chisom,
help.
any of
I
you.
could help answer that. So
Very
if you're
well.
coming from a non-technical background, so let's say, for example, you studied history in uni and you want to apply for the technology role. Now, it's okay to have studied history, but the question is, do you have an interest in technology and how are you showing that, right? there are side projects that you could do. You could show that, oh, I've taken this course, I've been learning about this. I know how to code on the side because I've self-taught myself. Because you can't apply for, it's like me trying to apply to be a nurse and I don't know anything about nursing. No one's going to take me seriously, right? So the question is, how do I position myself to be taken seriously in this technology role, knowing I didn't do a background in tech? So what you're going to start doing is you're going to read articles, you're going to watch videos, you're going to do courses, you're going to try and learn how to do basic coding, for example. So when you go for the interview, you're like, oh yeah, I don't have an undergrad in anything related to technology, but I know how to write code. I understand classes. I understand functions. I understand, or maybe you just position yourself, if you don't want to code, you want to do something else more of like projects management. Then you talk about, oh yeah, I understand what goes into a technical project, so I can do this and I do that. You can't just say like, oh, I did history and all I know is history, but I want you to employ me. No, you need to show that you've done some homework. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that
And
helps.
then,
Thank you.
yeah, and you could also put it on your CV. For example, the other day I was trying to learn about, oh, what was I trying to learn about? I can't remember what it was. And then I took a course that only took me 3 days, and I just made a note and put it on my CV. You've done the course. Like, you don't need to have a whole 4 year degree. It's all about knowledge. And if you think about it this way, we go to school to get information and to be knowledgeable. But if you're able to gain that knowledge on your own, and right now there's so much information on the internet, there's so much that you could learn on your own and prove to them that, well, I have this knowledge, so employ me. So that's basically it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Chisom and Miriam. I can still see some hands up, but unfortunately, because of time, we are unable to take so many questions. So what I would encourage is join for tomorrow's session and the subsequent one on Saturday. Yes, and ask your questions and we'll respond. Alternatively, you can also send us an email through info@asioafrica.org and we will respond to you as well. Yes, but thank you very much to Miriam and Chisom for the very useful information you have shared with us. I mean, this has really been very insightful. Yes, so to our audience, please appreciate them. Show appreciation to Chisom and Miriam for the very informative
for having
information. Yeah. All right. Okay, at this point, we'll just share some information on the application process. How do you get into the process from the very beginning, so that you have that awareness before you apply. Okay, so the stages to success. How do you apply and what is involved? First of all, to get into the program, that's the Bank of America program, you must have applied. So, and to apply, I put a chat, the link in the chat. You can also get the link on our social media pages to put forward your application. That's the first stage. That's the very stage you have to complete before you think of progressing to any other stage. Aptitude test and technical tests. Once you apply and you are successful or you are qualified, you will send you an aptitude test and a technical test. The aptitude test consists of verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, and situational judgment questions. The technical aspects or the technical questions basically are questions pertaining to the pillar that you have applied for or the division. So in this case, we are talking about technology and data analytics. So what it means is that the technical questions will involve technology and data analytics. That is if that is what you have applied for. Yeah. We have application review. Yeah. So if you are successful from the aptitude test and the technical test stage, then your application will be reviewed. Once your applications are reviewed, then you progress to the interview stage. So during the interview stage, we assess you on a number of areas, including motivational, your drive, your mental agility, and your personal impacts. Once you qualify from the interview stage, you get into what we call the corporate immersion experience. So during the corporate immersion experience, it's largely a training that we will give to persons who get to that stage to prepare you ahead of meeting with the Bank of America team. All right. So Yeah, basically that is it. So the Bank of America team will be coming to Accra sometime in August this year to meet up with people who will emerge out of the corporate immersion experience. Yes. So for those of you who may probably have questions about barrier, whether you can apply, whatever, irrespective of which country, whichever country you are, you can apply. And once you apply and you are successful throughout all those stages, and you get to the corporate immersion experience, and you are successful out of that stage as well, you will get to meet with the Bank of America team, irrespective of where you are here in Accra, Ghana. So I will encourage all of you to watch the CV writing and interview guidance on our YouTube channel so that you are able to structure your CVs very well. That's actually a very useful aspect of the application process, how your CV appears, and also how you can interview it very well. So in terms of the application itself, we don't have a deadline set for now. However, it is on a rolling basis. What it means is that if you apply early, you stand a chance of being accepted into the next stage, which is the application, which is the assessment stage. That's the aptitude test and the technical test stage if you qualify. So I will entreat all of you to please apply early. Like I said, the application is already in the chat and it can also be shared again if you did not see it. Apply early and that will give you a chance of being considered for the subsequent stages. All right. Thank you very much. I probably will take maybe 2 more questions and we'll call it a day. Yeah. Okay, so for the person, okay. Oh, okay. I can actually see no hand up. Those up answered already. Those that were answered already. Okay, so I think we can end it here at this point. Thank you very much to our panel, that's Chisom and Miriam, for the very wonderful insights and information you shared with us today. I believe that our audience are more than inspired to put forward their applications so they could also join the Bank of America program, just as you two did. Yes. So thank you. And thank you to our audience for joining today's session. Please take note of the meeting times for tomorrow and Saturday and join as well for those subsequent sessions so you know more about those pillars as well. So you're able to make an informed decision as to which area to apply to. Thank you very much. And we will end it here. Thank you.